When people spit on me, don't even talk to me if you don't. I only had one beer. One beer.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to Pit Pub, episode 4. Thank you for the echo there. My name is Jack. I spent $5 on this jacket at the thrift store, and I feel accomplished Griggs. And I'm here with Megan. Wow, I really like corn. Santoro.
Sure do.
Thanks for being here, man. How you doing?
I'm alright.
That's cool. You want to add anything to that? Like anything to state? Or you just gonna...
I've got rainbow Vans on.
Yeah.
They're rainbow on the bottom, so that's
yeah.
exciting.
Is that exciting?
It is.
All right. Well, now we know.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So I got a question for you.
Okay.
You, as these people do not know, are a performer
I
in
am.
the theatrical arts.
Sure do. Sure do that. Yes, I do.
So I'm wondering, for you as a performer, are there any sort of prerequisites you have to take to sort of get into the mindset of a character or a performance, or rather, do you just treat it as a sort of format for everything to sort of have that same quality take?
I think depending on the type of character, you have to get into character. Because if the character's not like you,
yeah,
then it's like, wow, I have to get into the mind of like a murderer or whatever.
So there's a separation between characters you can relate to and not really.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. That was Jack's tightly wound scarf. That's my like sort of question that I ask.
Okay.
That's
a weird question.
Thank you. All right. So we're gonna kick right into this. I like to call this episode "Show, Don't Sell." I came up with that. That was nice. Right there. You see that?
Yeah.
So this one's all. Why don't you tell them what that's about? Why don't you tell them what
Musicals.
That's one word, folks.
And also,
one word. Santoro. That's returning champion. We're gonna talk about that in a second. So I'm gonna introduce my album, so you can introduce yours.
Okay.
My picks were, of course, the returning champion, The Money Store, Death Grips. You know it. You love it.
Why not?
I mean, yeah.
Debatable.
Foreshadowing's fun.
Yep.
My other one, of course, is a Spongebob musical, which was probably my greatest regret.
I think it's everyone's.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting when we do that. And my third one is Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark. My first musical I've ever seen, and I really do enjoy it, but I'll get to that when we get to that. And my fourth one is the Off-Broadway version of Hamilton. Yeah, because I'm not like those other kids who think they know about it. Yeah, they call me the Tripster. Whoa. Alright, go ahead.
Okay. I chose Chicago.
That was loud.
Yeah, I did. It was loud. Heathers.
Yeah.
Les Mis.
Okay, we're gonna ignore that one.
What was the other one?
Across
the Universe.
Here I am, the host, pulling up the reins as usual.
Well, that's what the host does.
The Price is Right. They ask Alex the questions. I don't think Alex Trebek doesn't host The Price is Right, does he?
No, I think he stopped doing that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Jeopardy. Right. There was like an old guy that was on The Price is Right, but he died, so now there's a new guy on The Price is Right.
And you could say his price
was not right.
I was going to say it was not appropriate to joke about, but I mean, you can do that if you want.
Oh.
Now we know. That's called a setup and a dunking. So our first round, we're just going to get right into this.
Okay.
These are both my picks, unfortunately. I like to call this round The Returning Champion Meets the Ultimate Tragedy. Because, of course, it is Death Grips, The Money Store versus the Spongebob musical.
Oh.
So, which one would you like to talk about, Megan? The Spongebob musical or Death Grips?
Definitely Death Grips.
So you want to summarize The Returning Champion? Okay.
Okay.
By all means, go ahead.
The goodness of the Death Grips stops at the album cover.
Wow, okay, that's a hot take of ever.
You open it, and immediately it's just bad. It's wrong.
So
the music is bad.
Why is it? What takes? Why didn't you like it?
Because you can't understand it.
Okay.
It's just like muffled sadness.
Okay, tell me some more about it. Like, go song by song if you can.
Okay.
They're
all just as bad as each other.
Just as bad as one.
It literally, if I had a panic attack and I just put my face in a pillow, apparently I could have a whole album from it. Because that's what this sounds like.
Okay, so now
with like some heavy beats behind it.
Some heavy beats. So what did you think of those heavy beats? Were those not good, or?
I think if you took the lyrics away and it was just like background beats, there might be like something salvageable.
So would you consider these 24/7 beats to study or do homework to?
Maybe.
Okay, well that's interesting. No, like track by track, it's just all the sludge.
It's all sludge.
Okay, I'm gonna address that in a second.
Okay.
But I would like to. So did you look up any lyrics, or is it just all sorts?
I didn't even want to.
Oh boy.
There was no like wanting to find out what it said.
Well, now we know. Thank you for that. That's the hottest of takes.
Sure is.
Okay, so I'm gonna go and do. These are both my choices again. I'm gonna go to the Spongebob musical, which I have a similar opinion of that as you do Death Grips.
Yes.
To where it's probably the most intolerable thing I've ever heard. Like, oh yeah, this wins the Turkish Taffy Award for this episode. So.
What does that mean?
You're gonna find out when you watch the episode.
Oh, okay.
That's fun.
Okay.
So the Spongebob musical is awful, I guess, just to put it bluntly. It has some of the worst lyricism and worst vocal performances I think I've ever heard. Because you start with Bikini Bottom Day, and you're just put into it, to which I was shocked at how bad it was. Honestly, like I know this is a bit of a meme of us, like me listening to it for the first time, but it was not good, as they say. Just everything you go into to like Plankton's rapping, like with Karen as the beatboxer in the back. That was probably that was the moment I realized this is like like The Room or like some movies where you're impressed at how bad it is for it's funny.
Yes.
Like, that was the antithesis of the opposite of that, to where you just look at it and it's like there's nothing redeemable here. Like they have figured out. Okay, well you said you like the instruments on it, but even with SpongeBob, like everything about it just felt uninspired and unpassionate, and just it just felt like it was trying to ride of the namesake alone. Like it wasn't even that it was generic; it was just insufferably bad. You know, like I don't even want to say impressed because that would give something to it, but it just because it's not generic by any sense of the word, but it somehow found a way to be, and like I use this term very rarely because I think everything has a market and everything has an audience, but this is the one thing I can say is just a black hole of quality. Like it is devoid of anything good, to put it bluntly. So just everything from just a simple sponge to which it just hurts.
It's just a simple sponge.
Like it just hurts to listen to, and even the Flaming Lips had a part on this, and they were one of my favorite bands. And I think
how do you feel about that?
I mean, they only wrote it, like they didn't perform it. I don't think, but it just felt like why? What's the point of this?
I think they're trying to gear it towards little kids.
No, why is it?
And then they realized that little kids don't have thousands of dollars to go see a Broadway show.
Correct. They don't have tens of dollars, or else this wouldn't have dropped.
Right. I'm almost positive that's like almost close to already off Broadway.
Oh no, it's already off.
Yeah, exactly. They made no money.
It went off like 4 months ago.
Yeah, there was everybody went to go see it, realized how bad it was, and went home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like we'll get to that. Foreshadowing. So anyway, that's my opinions on the SpongeBob musical. So let's go to comparing a little bit from the returning champion to SpongeBob the musical. So lyricism wise, I know you did not dig the actual delivery of the Death Grips one.
No, not at all.
But the actual, you did. The problem with that is I feel like you should see some of the lyrics on it.
Yes.
It's honestly really clever and really a good painting of paranoia and like awareness of bad things.
If only people could understand them.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. I feel like... let me try and defend this, okay? Let me try and defend the delivery of MC Ride, a.k.a. the man who can only scream. So, MC Ride, he's the main guy from Death Grips. He does all the vocal work. Here's my defense of him.
Okay.
I feel like he does that to make it sound new, and to use it as an instrument rather than a traditional voice. If that makes sense. Because this is a very noise and experimentation-based album.
Right.
I feel that his voice should not be taken as a traditional voice, as to where it's on top of instruments and being the highlight to the instrumental's accompaniment, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I would personally think that I see that as anything is more of just a stew of sound, if that's the best description.
Look, as another instrument.
Yeah.
Well, there's some instruments that people don't like, and I don't like this one.
That's true. Okay. So I'm just amazed that you found nothing but... So, like, what instrument... I want to focus on the instrumentals then.
Okay.
Think it. besides the vocals, obviously, were any instrumentals on the track that you thought, man, this actually sounds decent, or just no?
No. The first song was just complete trash. Like, if there's one of them that I like the least, which is like the opposite of answering the question you just asked me.
Very, very fair.
But it's the first song. I don't remember what it's called, but I don't like it.
It's called Get Got. Why? Are
they in order on there?
Yeah, they're in order.
Look at them. They're in order. Yeah, Get Got is incorrect.
But they sample
I need it to get got.
Listen, they sample it. They sample a cell phone ringtone from Sahara. It's fine. So I just want you to describe it a little bit more. Besides just saying you don't like it, like was there any sort of sound profile about it, or was it just like what how could it have been better? I guess.
I think if the lyrics were understandable.
I mean more about the instrumentation.
Okay, with the instrumentation.
Like for Get Got, because he said it was awful.
I think that if it was more, like if it was slower, like if it was slowed down.
So you don't have a problem with the electronic sound necessarily?
No, I don't mind the sound. I just think this fast. It's really fast.
Okay.
I don't really like fast music to begin with.
Okay, so that's more of like a tempo issue. Okay.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And I guess that the vocals of anger and paranoia probably don't mesh well with that for you. Then.
Definitely not.
Okay, see, hey, we got to the bottom of it.
Yeah,
so now
we found the issue.
As we know, I really enjoyed the Money Store. But so, what was your take on the SpongeBob musical?
I particularly like the main one you pointed out, which was Karen's beatboxing behind Plankton's rapping. Okay. I thought you would appreciate that. No. I thought you would appreciate the rap.
Here's the thing, the reason I don't like it is I feel like the funny part is supposed to be him rapping rather than him rapping being funny. If that makes sense? I feel like it sort of bastardizes the idea of rap in Broadway.
That's, yes. I mean, really there's Hamilton, but...
Right, that's what I'm saying. Hamilton raps really well.
Right,
but
exactly.
I feel like the main sort of punchline of the Plankton thing was, oh, look at me, I'm a weird character you wouldn't expect to be rapping, and I'm rapping. Whoa.
Right.
You know what I mean? Rather than actually having substance, I feel.
I get it.
And I get it's not even shock humor, I feel.
It's not. It's just like, Plankton's rapping.
It's not even like... I know that cringe humor and shock humor are popular, but it just feels like it was just made for old people, just to put it bluntly.
Yeah. I mean, I just like I feel like it was really creative. But you feel in the exact opposite way. Okay. I don't know, like, I don't want to compare it to Les Mis, but Les Mis is like classical, like Broadway, like Sopranos and operetta and like all that. Whereas SpongeBob is like, oh, we're rapping now, like, and I think they're trying to relate to children as well, like the popular music of right now. Yeah,
I don't know, it just feels like if they were trying to go for children, then they would have like more childlike, again, instrumentation rather than like old people comedy of, oh, rap's weird. Anyway, so that's my take. So comparison wise, what are you feeling? Let's just attempt to compare these two. Money Store obviously is the returning champion, so it had to be here.
Right.
So I think vocal wise, I would prefer Death Grips the Money Store just on the basis of the SpongeBob one just sounded so faded and not highlighted at all. Like the main
it sounds really edited. Like it sounds very.
Like the main sorry, I mean
it sounds really bad.
Yeah, like the main vocalist of the SpongeBob one just is not like to be on Broadway. You need to have a vocalist that is like the highlight of the area because that's the way you're telling the story.
Right.
Through that. If you're not going to do unique instrumentation like SpongeBob. So I feel like the main vote, like Mr. Krabs. Oh my God!
Yeah.
I'm trying not to. Like, if you
I didn't mean to.
If you know that, then just be preferred because that's like where the mic is.
Okay. Well, let me just not do that.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Mr. Krabs is just awful. Like he sounds like a combination of not wanting to be there and also trying too hard.
Well, if you were playing Mr. Krabs on Broadway, would you want to be there?
I'd rather be silent than be there.
Exactly.
Like you can find a job in New York. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
It's anyway. So performance-wise, I would prefer MC Ride's singular performance rather than that entire group. Just because I feel like you have to admit he sounds unique, at least.
Yes. Okay. I'll give him that. I think I could probably. I don't know. I'd rather suffer. The real bad thing about the SpongeBob musical is that you're not going to be able to forget it for like at least a week. Like it's catchy, which is the problem. Wow. Like you're still going to be singing it like forever from now.
Okay. So, which one are you thinking should move on to the next round? Because these are, to you, these are like your least favorite.
Right.
And I'm kind of just getting your opinion on the Death Grips the Money Story because I've obviously talked about it before. But, obviously I'm going to vote for Death Grips the Money Story.
Right.
SpongeBob musical is...
I feel like you just really want this to be the reigning champion for the whole thing, like the whole show.
What? No, I never do that. Whoever wins, wins.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, who are you thinking?
I think due to the unfortunate catchiness of SpongeBob the Musical, I think it would do this because it's unique at least.
Hey, we got one, folks. SpongeBob Musical is out of here. Therefore, the Turkish Taffy is off the table. That's the award for like the worst one that I've heard. So, going into the next round, I like to call this next round. Which round do I want to do next? The joke is that I don't pick them beforehand. I like to call this round Edgy Teen One-Liners in Vastly Different Settings. Because this is Hamilton, the Off-Broadway version, versus Heathers the Musical.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
That is
appropriate. Before we start this one, I do want to set a precedent that we didn't exactly put in the last one, because I didn't like the other musical. This precedent is we're going to focus mainly on the music side of these musicals rather than character work and like fleshed out sort of plot-wise. Because like obviously albums can have stories in them, but the main thing you're going for is sound, because for sound and I guess sonic uniquity and like unity. But I do want to do a slight bit to the character bits because the story of it obviously is a factor in the sonics of it. But I do want to focus mainly on the audio, if that makes sense. So yeah, just wanted to set that out there. All right, so which one are you going to talk about? Hamilton Off-Broadway, which is my pick, or Heathers Musical, which is your pick?
Whichever. I don't care. I can talk about Hamilton if you would like.
Well, I'd prefer to do the Off-Broadway one personally.
Well, yes.
And then you can do the Heathers one. So go ahead, you can do the Heathers one. Go for it.
Okay. So Heathers is good. It's really good. The thing is.
Gonna have a bit more depth there.
The thing is about Heathers is it's like they're starting to do this more now, but it was the teenage like angsty musical of its time.
Yes.
Like they have Prom the Musical now, which is kind of the same thing. But it was kind of like...
Because Heathers was based on a movie, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
But it, like, prerequisited... That's not a word, but I just made it a word.
Thank you.
It, like, all, like, the Pretty Little Liars and, like, all that kind of face. Like, it's a bunch of high school teenagers finding dead bodies. Like, it was that, but before it was cool. Nice. It was, like, before its time. It was great.
See, I thought... I sort of had a different take on it, but I'll get to that in my summation of it. So anything about the songs in general on it? I have a track list here.
I think the...
reference.
What's it called? My Dead Gay Son is an amazing song. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Jack disagrees, but that's fine.
We'll talk about that one when we get to it. But.
Okay. And also Dead Girl Walking, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Which one, the reprise or the first one?
The first one.
Okay, really? I prefer the reprise.
And also Our Love Is God, and also Meant to Be Yours. And also 17, and also the whole soundtrack.
Okay, very fair.
Clearly.
Is there anything in particular, like the story, like the, I guess, creative writing, or any unique instrumentations you enjoyed, or like anything in particular, I guess?
The girl that plays Veronica Barrett Wilbert Weed, she has an amazing voice.
Great.
And she's in Mean Girls the musical as well.
Oh, is she?
Yes, she plays. I don't remember who she plays, but she plays one of them, and she has an amazing voice. And I think her voice, particularly as Veronica, brings out like the musical's capacity.
Yeah, capacity to work.
Capacity is not the word that I was looking for, but it's the word
like,
that came out.
It uppens the
Yes, it makes it a better musical.
It's like when you have a bowl and then you upgrade to a bottle, and you're like, man, this makes really, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's your ending.
Got him. All right, so I'm going into the Hamilton Off-Broadway version.
Okay.
And I want to say why I saved this one instead of the first one. And that's purely based on the changes they made to the song called One Last Ride.
You only care about that one song?
Yes. Well, okay, in comparison to the... As I don't want to focus on comparisons of this one to the on-Broadway one.
Right.
But I do prefer this one because I think there's a certain charm in, I guess, the unpredictableness of, like, a non-studio mastered and like, slaved over, just, like, perfect take of it. I think there's a charm to, like, having mistakes. In the recording we used, there's stutters and a lot of, like, non-perfect, I guess, ways of it. So that's why I picked this one. But in the actual play itself, I think it's brilliant. So obviously everyone knows, like, the first 10 songs. Like, Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burser, they've been on the internet. And they have been a lot on the internet.
Yes.
And, various memes or whatever. But I think it's that does kind of undercut how, I guess, unique each one was. Because they're, like, speaking of unique sounds, like, the amount of genres they cover on this musical is just insane. Mm-hmm. Like, they have, I think, 52 songs in total?
I think, like, the only genre they don't cover is, like, country.
Right.
Literally everything else is in there somewhere.
Not 52. I'm going to do some quick math. 'Cause I am a Quizlet boy.
I think Hamilton, like both versions also, they're like the longest,
52.
some of the longest musicals.
Yeah, and I wanted
if not the longest musical.
Oh, yeah. No, I wanted to congratulate that because the entire story is told through song, which I think is really impressive. I don't even want to see people rely on scenes, but they just sort of be trapped in not being able to tell a story without a scene of talking.
It's the truest form of musical.
Right, and I think that makes it flow incredibly well, and it makes it just have that sort of pace of just non-stops that it did there. Just like there's a lot of information being thrown at you, but they do it in a way which you can process it and also laugh at it.
Right.
At the same time, which I think is really impressive. But into actual songs, a couple of the highlights here. I mean, everyone knows My Shot, and I don't want to undercut that, but it's a great song. Right Hand Man, I think, is a good one as well. Just to sort of talk about, to have the setup of a war. Just a war.
Pew pew.
Stop. And Guns and Ships was my first rap song that I enjoyed, or that I could rap, so that's a fun factoid about myself. As for the cut songs, for songs that didn't make it, obviously One Last Ride I think is phenomenal in compared to One Last Time. And I know there's a difference between like having the emotional moment of One Last Time and One Last Ride just being, ending what he liked by doing what he liked, which I think is a more poetic and more like doing it correctly moment, I feel.
Right.
Yeah. And
so you're less about the emotional.
I wouldn't say I'm less about the emotional, because I like Burn on here. I know that's like the super emotional one, but yeah, I prefer Congratulations honestly to Burn. Congratulations
is amazing. It really is.
And maybe just prefer. Yeah, that's a word. Maybe just because I prefer Angela's character in general. But there we go.
It's a matter of preference.
And then the one thing I do want to detract from the new one is the end of 10 Things / One Last Thought compared to The World Is Wide Enough. I like the idea they were going for, having the comparing messages between Hamilton and Burr, saying like miscommunications. Right. But I do think that the new one did it a lot better with The World Is Wide Enough, with the sort of slow motion, in like his actual last thoughts before
I think that's
before he got shot. Cool. But aside from that, I think it's a very good musical that I think has just been over criticized because of how popular it got.
And I didn't even know there was an Off-Broadway version.
Why? I guess what's really
and now I do.
Yeah. That I would say
they should just make a big compilation of all of them in one playlist.
Yeah, I mean, there's ideas for you. I mean, this is a playlist right here. Just
that's true.
Songs,
so I guess you can make your own.
I mean, you listen to one.
Yeah.
In preparation.
Yeah.
Although it is kind of a bootleg recording, but still. So, would you want to? So, going on to compare the two, I would like to talk about Heathers for a second.
Okay.
The choice that you had. I agree with. I think the storytelling is fantastic in this, to where it's creatively written in a sense where it makes you think during it, but as well it makes it simple enough for you to get it on first listen. Mm-hmm. Which obviously, like, the context of scenes helps with that. But again, talking about pure music, I feel that like a lot of the wordplay, and not even wordplay, just the phrasing of events is done really well. And they're complicated events and concepts, like on Kindergarten Boyfriend, which is probably my favorite song on the album. I keep on saying album, but I know it's different. Well, yeah. Yeah. But, because that one, I feel like it has a really cool, not even cool, just a really interesting take on that whole, like the way you got to the mindset of suicide, I think is a really interesting idea, with all the fake suicides being told, like the one real one they really focus on, which I think is done really well. Yeah. And
there's complex concepts that they cover, and they do it well.
Right. And even on the Me Inside, the Me Inside of Me was the one with the suicide note, right? Or like they faked it.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like that was a very, because this show relies a lot on dark comedy. Yeah. I feel like it works like with the fake suicide note and making them seem like they're faking it for an actual teenage girl. I found that very I don't want to say humorous, that sounds pretentious, but I found that a very interesting idea as a comedic route, and I think they did it really well. Yeah. And this is a whole, I think, that the sort of, because you talked about it being the first of the teenage movies.
Yeah, first of the murder high school, we're a group of teen, the Scooby-Doo kind of but grown-up aspect thing. It was the first kind of thing to do that.
See, I sort of saw it as it making fun of those tropes, with the whole because I found it sort of, because I know Snowy, who's a creator that I did a video on this. That's what I'm kind of basing this on. Okay. Shout out to Snowy, by the way, he makes fantastic content. But going back to that, I feel that just as a whole, it was because like even those teenage movies that was like, oh, everyone's sad, parents don't understand, everything is like those movies were like ramped up when this came out.
You're right. I do feel like I guess looking back on it in that like perspective, it does make fun of that. Like wow,
because it shows them killing people then doing suicide notes to cover it up. Like, I feel like that was just a brilliant movie. It's
so extreme that it's like almost satire at that point.
Yeah, and I found it just like incredible, like how well they critique that through an interesting story by itself. And that's why I don't really like parody as a genre, because I feel like the main sort of thing that you're doing is riding off of someone else's success.
Right.
But in doing so, this makes it to where it's interesting by itself and also interesting to compare.
Right, and it's not just that. There's a story in it.
Exactly,
too.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. So like... No, well, yeah. But
Whoops.
No, you're good. That means you're following along.
Okay.
Going on to what I didn't like about this, I think I liked the majority of it. There's only one real song which I did not really like. That, of course, being My Dead Gay Son. And here's why.
Okay.
Because I know we're sort of comparing these two to their predecessors a little bit, but because you've seen the Heathers movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like the movie did it a lot better to where, if you guys know what we're talking about, the priest in the movie, when his son dies, he just says that one line, I love my dead gay son.
Yes.
And I feel like that's where it needed to end, I feel like if it was just him grieving, it would... Because I know this is the first song in Act 2, and introducing the audience back to these characters after like a 15-minute break. You want to start... I know you don't want to start with exposition directly.
Welcome back, the gay kids are dead.
That's what I'm saying, though. I feel like... Because I want to compare this to Blue a lot. Because my main problems with Dead Gay Son are its over-reliance on... just one joke, if that makes sense.
Yes.
To me, at least, it's a rephrasing of a punchline just over and over again, which I don't think is necessarily bad if you can market it as something progression. Like with Blue, the joke is, date rape, haha, they're trying to do stuff. But I don't mind it as much because the characterization of Veronica is happening at the same time as that as a foil. But with Dead Gay Son, there's no plot devices at all. It's just a joke for 4 minutes.
I feel like it's a laugh, like it's a comedy relief, because the rest of it is just like kind of sad.
Right, but
it's in the wrong place as well.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if it was 2 or 3 songs down, like if it was after 17, maybe that would be a better placement for it just in general, as opposed to Welcome back, guys, the gay kids are dead.
Well, I would say even have it simultaneously with, or not even simultaneously with 17. It just feels like something's missing from it. I guess. And with Blue, obviously, I don't think that is a same issue with that. And as well as the ending with the 2 dads eating together, that just felt kind of absurdist. Like, that was the one moment I was like, okay, that... Like, in a show about like, teenagers killing each other and forging suicide notes, that was the one moment that stuck out to me as that probably wouldn't happen.
No. Yeah, I think it was definitely more well represented in the movie.
Yeah,
and they were like, how do we make this a song? And then in doing that, they kind of messed it up. Yeah,
because I just feel like they tried to do too much, honestly.
I think the song, musically, like as a musical composition, is a very nice song, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No,
it
like,
just doesn't go with the rest of the show.
Right, yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. But besides that, I feel like everything on here was great. Yeah. Like, Yo Girl, the athlete. Because that's what I'm saying. That title itself, I think, adds to the idea of a critique of those, like, relatable teenage movies.
Right. Voice crack to the extreme.
And then I Am Damaged. So, I think it's a great musical. Comparison-wise, I want to start by saying these 2 are great musicals.
They both start with H's?
Both start with H's, correct. That's all. It's like,
the whole comparison, they both start with H's.
Yeah. I feel like Hamilton tells a more in-depth story. And I know we said we're going to focus mainly on story, but I do feel like it's a talking point when both qualities of music were so high.
Right, yes.
I feel like Hamilton has more to dissect musically. Mm-hmm. But Heathers, for what it goes for, does it really well to that help. Because the sonic... I don't keep saying the word sonic, but the instrumentation... And again, that word as well. But the background tracks, that's a word. Right. It really does set that mood of the whole teenager, rebellious type phase. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it has that sort of tinge of sarcasm to it, which I think is really nice. Which is really evident in the song Big Fun, just in general, as a sort of parody. Because, because I feel, going back to the non-comparison part, I feel like Big Fun was interesting because it almost felt like a parent's take on another parent not knowing.
Right.
Because it's like, obviously people aren't like murdering each other.
Obviously people aren't just going around murdering each other in one house that nobody knows.
Yeah. And so, it was a cool idea, but back to the comparison wise, I would probably go with... See, I can go probably either way on this, really, because Hamilton, I feel like as a whole is better, but I feel like in a more specified contrast, Heathers would be better personally. So what are you thinking on the comparison wise?
I personally think that Heathers is better.
Okay.
Because of its like specificity. That's not a word I made.
Go for it.
Maybe it is a word. Who knows? But like in its like its own little box, like compared to all the other musicals, it represents what was going on in that time. Even like there was a big mental health, like I guess like surge. Like, hey guys, we feel this way, and they were like, whoa, let's represent this for people. Like Hamilton, like it's great, it's cool, it teaches history, it's got all the genres. That's great, but like.
You felt more of a connection with it.
Right. Heathers, you can have more of like a connection. You can be like, wow, I really felt like I wanted to murder those kids in my class before, and she did it.
Yeah.
Don't do it, but she did it.
Thanks for phrasing that. I think our viewers were definitely about to do something.
I also apologize for the editing. You're going to have to do all my laughing.
It's fine,
because it's going to be quite loud every time.
Yeah, no, I can tell. It's just like fragments of white. Whenever you breathe, it's just blue. That's an Audacity joke for everyone listening.
Right.
So yeah, I can concede to that. I think Heathers would go on in the sense of a talking point later.
Yeah.
Even though Hamilton's great though, and people already probably know that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So the next round. Wow, we spent a lot of time on that round.
We did.
Sure, it's almost as if these are two of our favorite musicals.
Perhaps.
Perhaps indeed. To these next ones, this next round, I like to call Fabricated Beauty and a Scripted Audience.
Ah.
Can you guess what two of those are?
No.
Nice. That, of course, being Les Miserables versus Across the Universe. And I would like you to talk about Les Mis, because I'm going to talk about it pretty poorly. Wink, wink, foreshadowing. So if you want to go ahead and talk about that, go right ahead. Your phone is off. You're not professional. Okay.
So...
Can I talk about it?
Whole phone.
There's a whole phone in my hand.
So Les Mis is 10 out of 10. Do recommend.
Minus the ones, maybe.
It's a musical and it's movies. Okay, so it's won so many like awards, Jack.
Oh wow, recognition! That is
it has.
Like the Oscars for that.
Do you hear the people sing an amazing song? It's a very powerful song.
Okay, how?
History, slavery.
Didn't you just say
eating slavery?
Didn't you just say ideas were better than history?
This is different. This is different. This is a completely different.
Okay.
Javert's Suicide.
Okay.
Is an amazing song.
Alright. I mean, like more as a whole immediately.
It is. I know. I was just looking. I was looking at specific songs just to get my point across because I know you're about to slam this into the ground harder than you can like even
I want you to go
comprehend.
more in depth than just naming songs.
Okay, so I think it was a good groundwork for the musicals we have now because musicals pre Les Miserables were very like
not good
operetta, like Pirates of Penzance. Ivanhoe.
Okay, so you're saying
they were
it's
very
more
classical.
Like
this was kind of like a push, like, hey guys, maybe we can write about more than like boring stuff, more than 80-year-olds.
Yeah, what's more exciting about the French Revolution? Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so like as a whole, I guess.
As a whole, it's a very good musical that represents good historical factors, and also it keeps its classical like hold while also exploring other types of vocal arrangement.
All right. And that's your take on Les Mis if you're done.
That is my take on Les Mis.
And I will go into Across the Universe. Both of these are your picks, by the way.
They are. I noticed that.
Thank you.
I saw that.
You did? I think I said it. I don't think I said it. Yep, I just said that word.
Okay.
I meant to say C. As in the Russian sea. Did the Russians have C's?
Why wouldn't they have C's?
I don't know.
They have Czechoslovakia that starts with the C.
I mean, like the water.
Oh.
Man, that's where we're going with this.
Okay.
All right.
There's water all around them.
I call that a forced laugh when I see
Well, there's water on like 3 sides. Does that make them a peninsula?
You would think that immediately when you think that. That would be the one thing you think.
Does that make Russia a peninsula? I'm gonna Google that after this. Is Russia a peninsula?
Man, we're really good about staying on topic here at Pip Pub.
Right. Pip Pub.
Yeah, the show.
It's exciting.
Is it that word excites you?
Pip Pub. Waiting for Wade to make a
Hey, it'll be out by the time this goes out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay. Anyway. Hey, Wade is our first guest or second guest.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's blue, dude.
It's very bad.
Anyway, so on to the album that we're trying to talk about, Across the Universe. This is a Beatles collaboration album.
Sure is.
About the topic being the Beatles, not them instrumentationally. That's a word. And I think it's a very interesting take on a lot of their songs and a lot of concepts they talked about. Going through it as an album, I think the first 4 songs were a bit on the generic bass-wise for me, because it won't be long. I've Seen a Face. I feel like a lot of the moments through it, I felt that they were trying to do something different, but they couldn't escape from that base of just sticking to a safe formula, I guess.
Right.
Whether it be like the drum line, the guitar, or even the vocals, I feel like they weren't committing fully to embracing that unequity of... That's the word of the day, unequity.
Unequity.
Yeah, of just that. Just the method of thinking you need to make it stand out, I guess. I feel like they were trying to do that subtly, but not as a whole. The first 4 songs, at least. But after that, and the Let It Be cover was awful, sorry. But because I don't want to hear gospel music in my Beatles album.
Okay, fair enough.
That's my quote for the episode. But after that, I feel like Come Together should have been the start. It is, in my opinion, the start of the album. Because after that, I think it was just fantastic songwriting-wise and vocal lead, and even like a guitar instrument. I don't want to use the word instrumentation like that because I feel like I've been overusing that. But throughout it, I feel like after Come Together, all the way to Hey Jude, or all the way to Blackbird, sorry.
Blackbird's a great song.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying throughout that, it's just...
also saying that.
I think it's just a fantastic take on it, including I Am the Walrus. Choo-choo, my dude.
Choo-choo.
That was the joke I just said, thank you.
I was repeating it.
Okay. And the echo motif is strong in this episode.
Megan doesn't know what to say, so she just copies what Jack says.
Well, see, that doesn't work because I copy what my guest says. Because I'm the host, that's my job.
Just copying each other and getting off topic.
You can't punch tinfoil. Anyway.
You can, but you shouldn't.
And that's the metaphor for the podcast.
There you go.
Anyway, you can, but you shouldn't. Hey Jude was the only real other song I didn't really enjoy, just because I enjoyed the original.
Right.
Apart from it, I feel like it was. This is a case of trying too hard to be different, to where it felt like almost a gimmick with the whole sort of choir and like sort of, I don't want to even say big band, but just like non-singularity focus of it. I felt like it was more of a gimmick rather than the artist's take on a song.
Right.
But Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and Come Together especially. Come Together probably my favorite song on the album.
Right.
Besides,
it's a good song.
Besides the I Am the Walrus and Come Together. Hey, that's the joke. They were both the Come Together covers. That's the joke. And I think both covers are great, and as well, just those are I don't know how to word this exactly, but I feel like they do. Besides the songs mentioned, they do the idea of expanding upon a legacy very well.
Right.
So, if you have any thoughts on it, okay.
Speaking on it, I think you said like the first 4 songs were like somewhat generic.
It's safe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think just trying to like when you use an album that's already had popularity like that, it's very hard to make it new.
Yeah.
Without ruining it.
Yeah.
Because especially with like Hey Jude's a very popular song. I think most people that know the Beatles might know it because of Hey Jude.
Yeah.
So I think making it new, it's like, how do we make this new but not awful? So because this cover is gross. I like the original.
Is that impression of me? I like that.
Yeah, I guess. But
that's a lot of blue.
I apologize.
Very good.
But yeah, I think it's a struggle that maybe they didn't quite work through, but it is something I'm sure they were working with, having to create that. And
I wouldn't do that as a focus, rather if not the rest of the album being as good as I said it was.
Right.
That makes sense. Like the first 4 to me at least were like sort of glaring spots of this needs improving.
Right.
But then the rest of it just felt like even Helter Skelter, which is a song I felt kind of hesitant about at first. Because I don't really like the strong vocals over like punky instrumentals.
Right.
But like they pulled that off, and I feel like that was a good method of taking like a bass idea and just evolving it. Yeah. Yeah. So like as a whole I liked it, but just in specific. So here's my take on Les Mis. So I want to start by saying I do realize that it is very influential throughout music, but at the same time I feel like influence should not necessarily mean quality. Right. And I always like to point back to, the album Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd? Absolutely. I always like to point to that album as an example of what I'm talking about, because a lot of people view that as like the best rock album of all time. Okay. To which I inherently disagree with.
Yes, I can also disagree with that.
In my opinion, it's not even Pink Floyd's best album. And a lot of arguments used for it is how much influence it had at the scene at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I that to me does not translate to quality. And I have a similar. And by the way, going back to Pink Floyd, Animals, and Wish You Were Here, the best albums. Right, but I do think that same idea applies to Les Mis and its sort of take as a scene. Because my main problem with it just sounds, and this is going to sound flawed, but it sounds too beautiful.
It sounds too beautiful?
Okay, hear me out here.
Okay.
Right. So I feel like it's trying way too... Because, like, okay, you start with the work song, right?
Right.
And that's an idea about slavery in a song. And I feel like it's a good opener because it has energy to it. It has that sort of pressing ideology of the times in that situation.
Right.
And then you go to Valjean Arrested, and it's an interesting story going into it. But after that, when you get to, like, I Dreamed a Dream, and I know it's going to be mad at other people, and, like a lot of the... And even Castle on a Cloud.
I don't like Castle on a Cloud.
You don't like it?
I hate high, airy soprano songs. Mm-hmm. Soprano? That sounded weird coming out of my mouth. I'm a mezzo-soprano, but I like to sing alto, and I guess that's another reason I also like Heathers and those kinds of new musicals, because the older musicals are, like, all, like, light, airy, like... songs, and I just don't like that style.
And that's my main problem with it is I feel like these moments are supposed to pop as a highlight of being like, oh, this is like a beautiful moment. But the problem is I feel like with that sort of sonic that the entire thing runs through, the main problem of it is that it just tries too much. Like the rest of the songs take away from the idea of it being like a popping moment or like a noticeable one. And that's I have similar qualms with the song Master of the House. Mm. And because I feel like the reason people like that song is not because it's good inherently, but because compared to the rest of it, it's lighthearted and comedic. And yes, it does advance the plot, like I said with the Heathers one, but the problem is it just doesn't feel... Like, it feels out of place in the sense of it's more of a contrast rather than a self-supporting engine, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think I like the guy... majority songs in this are very good. I think if you took out the light, airy Castle on a Cloud type of songs and just yeeted them out somewhere else, this would still be a strong supporting musical. Well, ignoring the plot advancements they hold.
Right, but as well, I know I'm going to talk about One More Day really quick, and I know that's your favorite song, man. One Day More.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, here's the reason I like that song is again, it just feels like this. It's track 4 in Act 2. And I feel like its placement, that's a really awkward moment for the climactic ending it goes for. Because I feel like you need to either have that be the act closer or the end of the rising action, if that makes sense.
See, I thought you were going to talk about how A-list actors shouldn't be Broadway stars.
Well, no, we're doing the Broadway one. Like, it's...
Well, yeah, no, but how, like...
How what?
How, like, a lot of the time, like, Russell Crowe and... Oh yeah. Hugh Jackman still...
Isn't it like a meme, like Russell Crowe can't sing on this or something?
It is. Yeah. It's a complete meme. It's a joke.
Yeah, no, I'm really sort of, like, tone deaf when it comes to, like, Broadway culture. But I pretend to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's a good summation of this podcast.
Okay.
But no, just going back to this, it just sounds, like, I feel like it suffers by lack of variation a lot. To where, like, you can have subtle variation, definitely. But I feel like this, in a musical where this spans almost 2 hours, even like pure music and not even with scenes in mind, you need to have a sort of variation in not only sonics, but topic-wise. Like, throughout all these songs, they're basically about different characters' perceptions of events. But the problem is the perceptions are not inherently different, I feel, as well. Right.
I feel like I forgot what I was going to say. That's what I feel like.
Mid-answer trying to answer the question. Thank you.
I feel like the way they... The word I'm thinking of is not coming to me.
Well, just describe what the word is.
The way they take something new. Like, you come at it with an assumption, like, you have all these new musicals, like Heathers, well, making Heathers new. But all these, like, kind of new age musicals, and... You don't consider that, like, in the 80s, they didn't have that. Like, there wasn't variation to be had yet. This was a variation of what they had then. But now we have more variation.
Right, and I do think that's a talking point where you compare the idea of difference of the times to non-contextual quality. I feel like that is a conversation to have. I personally prefer something standing on... Because I feel like it's ingenuous to say something good... It's to say that something is good because it's different than its counterparts rather than it's different than that which already exists in general.
Right.
And I feel like Les Mis... I feel like the problem I have with Les Mis, again, talking about comparison-wise, I feel the main talking point of its positives come that it was different from the time. To where Heathers, it's quality because of its storytelling and uniquity in general, rather than things before it or after, and taking after it and twisting, I guess, inspiration in an idea of just not even parody, just an idea of like a funnel, I guess. If that makes the most sense. Because like you started as a center standing on your own. Because like, okay, so I know I'm just like metaphorically dumped right now, but if Heathers itself is the liquid in the funnel, it feels like Les Mis is the result of that. To where it's a great, like both dishes, and I'm talking about like cooking right now.
Okay.
But both dishes, I feel like one dish you will like because it does well with what it has, and one dish you'll like because it's better than everything else on the menu. If that makes sense.
Like it's like you're homeless, but somebody has raviolis, you're gonna like the raviolis even if they're spoiled.
Right, yeah.
But if you have all the raviolis in the world, there's gonna be a plate that's better than the others, and that's Heathers. And
we're talking about Across the Universe.
Or Across the Universe, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
And that's Across the Universe, but like the other one, like the old guy with the raviolis on the side of the street, that just happened to be the only thing you can eat other than like nothing, that's gonna be...
So, like going back to contrast... Yeah, no, exactly, and I agree with that. And going back to contrasting, I feel that Across the Universe does... Because I feel like that's an interesting talking point, again, the whole... Because Across the Universe obviously was based on something pre-existing.
Right.
But Les Mis, I feel like, in a sense, took more from that pre-existing market.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with that, and going just purely on what I think is more... Like, what I don't want to say enjoy more, but just what I think is more palatable in a sense of that you want to eat more, I would go with Across the Universe going through next.
Okay.
And which one would you go with?
I think there's just so much theater kid in me that is just very sad that I like Across the Universe enough to put it through, because it's like, but Les Mis is so good, like, love classic theater, don't give up on it. But like, I can agree that with your points that it is the best of its time, but not the best of all of them in our time.
Yeah.
So I guess Across the Universe.
And here we go. See, we haven't had a disagreement yet.
No, well...
Yeah. And then, we're going to disagree on the next one, I feel. So, because this next one's your favorite musical. And
so whip out the soundtrack.
Okay, nice. So, this next round, I like to call... They're both kind of the same if you really think about it. Because, of course, we are comparing Chicago with Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. So I'm assuming you want to talk about Chicago, and I would like to talk about
Boy,
Spider-Man.
do I.
So go ahead, you can talk about that.
So Chicago, I feel, brings a new jazzy feel to Broadway. Thank you, because my phone is not cooperating with me. It gave me the band and not the musical.
No problem.
It gives a new, like, free jazzy feel, and it's very, like, feminist, but not like in an older feminist way, not in like the new like feminist way. Right. In like a more, I guess, female empowerment, not necessarily
the political
feminist.
episode. Here we go.
Yeah, but look at all that blue.
That's my line.
That's my laugh.
You're colorblind. Stop it.
Rip. But yeah,
you say rip, yo.
It's sorry. It's very good. Cell Block Tango is amazing.
Agreed. I was going to
Okay, thank you. So. Because we were going to have a whole fight if you disagreed.
No, that's not my main issue with it.
Okay.
I'll get to that when
I'm
we get to it.
I'm knocking this again with my knee.
That's fine.
Okay.
So do you want to talk about it more?
Yeah, I went on a rant. It's great. It brings...
It's
female empowerment. It's female empowerment, and it's like... I guess it's not encouraging females to murder their husbands, but that is an aspect. Murder your husbands, and you'll be... Happy, but also sad in jail. You'll be empowered.
Wait, that's a good
by Roxy Hart.
That's a good quote. Be a lesbian, you'll be happy. Thank you.
Okay. There you go.
That's a good quote.
Murder your husband. No. Well, if you want to murder your husband and be a lesbian, that's a whole other lifestyle that I also encourage.
Do you think murdering your husband is inclined with being a lesbian, or?
No.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. Roxy Hart is not a lesbian, as I know of.
I know.
But if she was, that would make the show only better.
Well, I normally go with topic-wise. I normally don't associate quality with topic, but you can do that if you want.
I do.
Okay, well, you go.
Okay. Well, I think it's new. It's fresh.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Yeah, uniquity, as someone
It's uniquity. It has uniquity.
Thank you. Okay. Then me going to Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. Why are you sighing? You like this musical.
I did, and I didn't want to. That's why I'm sighing, because I know that I don't have a lot of bad things I can say about it.
Yeah. Okay, so here's why I enjoyed this. First of all, fantastic opener, New York debut. I'm a sucker for instrumental openers and plot-driven stories. And New York debut is fantastic. Yeah, you two did the main, like, sort of sonic, just control and performance for this. Nice. You're professional.
I got halfway through the first song, and I realized it was instrumental, and I skipped it.
What, man?
I can't do songs without lyrics. I don't do songs without lyrics. If it doesn't have lyrics, it's not a song. That is a classic.
So for those complaining that you couldn't hear what she heard,
Beethoven.
that was the joke, was that I was saying words while she was talking, therefore necessitating the need for instrumental.
See, my phone is on silent now.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Took halfway through the
But
spit out of it.
anyway, just everything, sonically I think this album is incredible. Like, you two did a fantastic job making each song sound unique, yet also stay with the same tone. As any good piece of music should be. Yeah, no, I agree. But them, like, I was impressed by how different they made it sound, maintaining the same level of quality. I know that's a talking point I use a lot, but I do think it's a very, very good accomplishment to do that. Because there are a lot of quality songs in here. And I know that story-wise, a lot of people made fun of it, because it is kind of a bit of a generic story.
With Spider-Man?
With, I mean, not even Spider-Man, like taking apart that as a lot of people compared it to a gimmick, having Spider-Man with a story of just like a traditional like, teenage sort of thing. Like, it's a group of teens versus one bad guy that doesn't understand them. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Yeah. But I feel like this, just as an actual piece of music itself, I feel like that is where it shines in its songs rather than its plot. And that's a good thing we're focusing on the music. That's what he did there. But so individual songs wise, Bouncing Off the Walls was a song of my childhood.
Was it?
Yeah, dude, I listened to that a lot when I was like 12 to 13. And it's just, because that is a highlight of like that sort of like 90s rock to where it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? And that sort of vocal
yes.
thing. Yeah.
Like
and
the
just,
hype.
Yeah, thank you. And then Rise Above is a lot catchier than it should be.
It is.
Like,
it's a problem.
Yeah, it is. And it's a good type of catchy because it's a good song.
Not like Spongebob catchy.
See, I was trying to not even. I was trying to even say that because I like to maintain a hand of
the echo has
subtlety.
continued.
But here we are. But I do think, and just as a whole, I just do want to say that musically, it's definitely a strong point. Lyrically, I do have a bit of a problem with a lot of it, but like musicals in general, I sort of tend to give a bit of a pass because you need to tell us a long story, like at least 2 hours through, and you can't really afford to be, I guess, metaphysical with it. Like you need,
right.
Like if your audience doesn't get the story, then that you need to, like you're doing something wrong.
Right.
So you need to sort of play it a bit safe. So I do allow some sort of leadway with this because. Yeah, with any musical in general, because you do need to make sure that the audience gets the story. That's like your number one priority rather than having it be said in a way to which that makes them think about it. Because pacing is also an issue. And then songs like, with, and speaking of that as an example, with songs like Pull the Trigger, like that song I think is great sonically, but lyrically it's just kind of corny. Yeah, that was the Army one. With like the Yeah. And then DIY World as well, like, it just felt not really going in a direction that is in new territory. Right. But the way they trek on that territory is very quality, I think. Right. And like without U2, it would have been good. But that's the main focus of it, those U2. So here we are. So what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's very obvious that it's it has their style. Yeah. Of music. Like, it's not like, oh, really? You two did that? Like, no, you know. you know it's them. You know it's some, like, punkish, like...
Do you think U2's punk?
I think they're, like, light punk. They're punk light. Like, L-I-T-E. Like,
okay,
like punk light.
That hurt me.
It has their, like, flair, I guess. I think If the World Should End was really good.
Oh, yeah, no, agreed.
As well as Pull the Trigger. But you...
no, I like that. I like that song as a song, but not as a plot device.
Not as a plot device.
Yeah.
It was good. I remember I was listening to it and I was like, oh shit, this means I have to actually like this, and I have to go into class and tell Jack that this was actually good music, and I can't lie about it. And I was like, I have to find something I don't like, and it just didn't happen, other than the fact that they start with an instrumental, because I just can't do it with instrumentals.
I don't know why. Why do you like instrumentals?
Because, like, I don't know if it's because I'm, like, ADD, or, like, what the problem is, but, like, if there's no songs, or if there's no, like, lyrics, and I just, like, I'm skipping it. I can really get through a song with lyrics. Like, I get halfway through, I'm like, I can't.
And you think Chicago? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get that in a second.
Okay.
So, just going back to Spider-Man, because I do want to have a bit more points.
Okay.
I think the way it does its reprise of Rise Above is very good as well. As to where
a good reprise is always...
Yeah, because I feel like I keep on saying reprise, like it makes me smarter. But
well,
I do think
I echoed it, so,
you know. I do think the idea of a reprise is a difficult one to pull off, because you want to make it not sound like a chorus, you know?
Right.
Or like a hook. You want it to sound like they're two standalone subjects with just the commonality of perception being the sort of connecting point. Sorry.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like as a whole it's good sonically. And like even the lead vocal I feel like was a bit faded from what it should be. Like it should have a bit more focus. But besides that, like sonically it's brilliant. In comparison,
brilliant.
So
it's a big word.
Yeah, it's a big word. It's three syllables.
It's a powerful word.
Again, three syllables. Powerful is 3 syllables as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So my take on Chicago, you're probably going to be mad at me, but I don't really see Chicago as a musical.
Oh.
And
really?
And here's why.
Look at all that music.
Okay, here's why.
Okay. There's scenes.
In more...
If that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Right.
But the main take of it, because in... ones I mentioned before, like Heathers and in Hamilton, it tells a story through the songs, right?
Right.
But to me, a lot of the songs, like All That Jazz, or not really Funny Honey, but like When You're Good to Mama, those feel like background songs to in a band that's happening, if that makes sense.
Okay. All That Jazz is not the best song in a musical. Yeah. I will say that. All That Jazz is kind of stereotypical, like, oh, Chicago, oh, All That Jazz, like, oh. Same goes for Mr. Cellophane. It's kind of the more, like, well-known, which in turn makes it, like, less powerful.
Yeah, no, and I was about to comment on that, as well as Razzle Dazzle. Those just felt like...
Razzle Dazzle.
Yeah. Like, it feels like they're not really telling a story, but rather conveying a message of a story, if that makes sense. But, as well as instrumentation-wise, I feel like it needs... Because, like, big band as a genre sounds inherently similar to each other, I feel. And throughout the... Do you disagree with that?
I think you just don't like jazz.
No, I like jazz.
Real jazz, Jack.
I have jazz records. What are you talking about?
I don't play again.
You know what? Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
We're taking a break.
Whole break to prove his point.
Yeah. Hold on a second. You see... You ever heard of Whiplash?
I have not. But...
I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
Because I get to this point. I'm going to cut that out. And I'm going to... That was a bit. Anyway. I do like jazz as a genre. But...
Well, you like that weird jazz.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This feels... Because this was made in what? Like
2002.
2002? Yeah.
2 years old.
Did you say it's 2 years old?
I was 2 years old.
I was about to say, did you say this music was 2 years old? That would be kind of fitting, actually. But it just feels like, I feel like as a musical, to have a highlight on songs, and I know there's the appeal that I mentioned before in previous episodes, I mean to harken back to this, because you weren't here for this, and you didn't watch them yet, because you're not a fan. But got them. But the idea of a one long song being an album, we've talked about before. But I do feel like this does not do it.
They do that?
Well, no, because, you know, having an album sounds similar to one song, but, like, thematically, but having different tones and stuff. Yeah.
I got you.
But I feel like this, as a whole, does it too extremely. To where, like, for example, when you compare, like, All That Jazz to Funny Honey and to When You're Good to Mama, it all sounds that sort of big band sound of, you have, like, what?
If you're in a specific time period and there's specific music from said time period, you're not just gonna like break out the classic high soprano noise and be like, screw the jazz, let's have a different song. Like,
well, it's not that necessarily. I'm just saying, like, name a song here that doesn't have like a whimsical horn with like a down tempo drum.
I can't, because that's the whole like theme of Chicago is whimsical horn and like weird drum noise. and like saxophone. Like that is Chicago. Like,
but you can't have an hour of that.
You can.
But I feel like you need to have some sort of like I know thematically, time period wise, it makes sense.
Right.
But I feel like saying something makes sense again does not harken back to quality.
And this is back to like the Les Mis thing.
Yeah, that's right. Because I feel like these are similar arguments. Because here's my opinion on this.
I realize that is my whole argument for everything.
Because I feel, comparing it to Spider-Man, I feel like its instrumentation and its differences are both of this, because these are both, obviously this is a quality big band soundtrack. Like people enjoy it who enjoy big band. But I feel like Spider-Man does more than just stay in the genre of rock. Like it has this sort of more, like as I hearkened with the Les Mis thing, has the more beautiful moments, like with If the World Were to End. But it does it more with variation rather than staying on a quality level, if that makes sense.
I think that Chicago's delve into the deepness of...
The deepness.
The deepness. The depth.
There you go.
The depth. Look, it doesn't matter. The depth of...
That's a good summation again.
Jazz.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The depth of jazz and, like, creating jazz. It didn't create jazz, you know what I mean? But it used it in all of its ways.
See, I would disagree with that because I think jazz as a whole, as a genre, and I do have issues with the word genre in general, but I feel like jazz is founded on the base of being unpredictable and like not laying out things. And I feel like, again, I think big band is a bit different than jazz as a whole, because jazz is normally, it has highlights on certain parts. But then big band to me, it just sounds, I know I hate the term too similar, but the entire soundtrack, to me at least, just sounds like it just feels like it's just missing something to where that would maintain your interest. Because I feel like if you don't like one song in here, you won't like any of them. Because,
because they're all similar.
There's my point.
But they're all so good that the fact that they're similar makes them an amazing soundtrack.
But it doesn't make it as a whole quality, I feel. Like, I feel like individually, then yeah, they'd be good. But to listen to it as a whole, I think it gets kind of repetitive. Now, story-wise, I wouldn't say Cell Block Tango is a very good writing-wise.
Cell Block Tango is amazing.
Yeah, because I do think it does have this sort of corny moments where it's like, I shot him in the face. Like, you know what I mean?
I stabbed him in the chest. I stabbed him in the chest.
See, that was funny. Like, that was the way you did it correctly, but then there was I did 2 warning shots in his face. Like, that to me was just like, okay.
It's cringe humor.
No, but it's not good, though. I don't want that in my 1920s based detective drama.
True.
And then Funny Honey, I think that was probably the most brilliant moment on this, where it was like the switch up between the switch up between like the main like really lovey-dovey moment, and immediately just hatred.
Funny Honey is the song I audition for every show with.
Oh, nice.
Because it's one I can sing really well, and that's my favorite part, is where all of a sudden she's just like really angry and like she has that like gnarly like thing. I love it because I can do it, but also because it is very different than the rest of the... I think Roxy's voice, her vocalist, is very good.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the rest of this would have benefited from that sort of storytelling wit.
Yes.
Rather than just... Because a lot of these songs just feel like moments, you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it just feels like singular moments.
I can see how that would
rather than like a storytelling like ride, if that makes sense.
Right.
And that's why I did not really enjoy it.
Because it's not a story. Because it's a glimpse into moments and not a story.
Right, because the music itself cannot tell a story. And that's why I didn't really consider it a musical to back it up, was...
This doesn't really tell... Spider-Man doesn't really tell a story.
Yeah.
It's moments as well.
See, I would disagree with that. Like, with DIY World and with Bouncing Off the Walls, like, there's a clear narrative being pushed with the rest of it. Like, even if the world would end,
but
there's context to it.
Spider-Man is jumping from a building to another building right now.
What?
Spider-Man's shooting someone in the face 10 times. Like, that's not... Like, it's not telling the story, it's supporting the story.
Right, yeah.
Which is what Chicago also does.
I would disagree with that, personally.
I know. Well, I know you would. That's why I said it.
Okay. And conflict, I see. Thank you.
Yes.
So, anyway, I feel like that sort of summarizes my take on the difference between the two. Because I feel like you need context to even pick up there is a story with Chicago, rather than Spider-Man, to which, as a whole, throughout each track, you can sort of... There's a loose narrative without the scenes in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what are you thinking? I'm thinking Spider-Man, personally. I'm pretty sure...
I'm thinking Chicago, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Chicago is my child. It's my, like... I love it too much to not vote for it, to turn around and vote for Spider-Man.
You like this musical, shut up.
Look, okay, so Spider-Man is great. It's good, but it's not as good as Chicago. 10 out of 10 times.
Alright, so here's what we're going to do. Since
are you going to make me rock, paper, scissors?
No, dude, because I'd win.
Okay. Yeah, because you cheat. Jack really cheats. Don't play rock, paper, scissors with him.
So we're going to flip this taffy. Which side would you like to represent yours? This side? This side?
I'll take the nutritional facts.
Yeah, nutritional. Alright, whatever side it lands on is the one that's going to go on to the next round.
It's probably going to be his, because he's a cheater.
You can flip it, I don't care.
I don't know.
Would you like to
I don't know how you would cheat on this, but I feel like you would.
So basically, because this is a show about conversations had rather than the results, so the results really don't matter because everyone's taste is different.
Right.
But here we go, so let's flip it. Okay. Whatever side it lands on, we'll go on. That landed sideways. That's honestly impressive.
God damn it.
That's a first for us, Megan. And, hey, it landed on my side.
God damn it. So I told you he cheated. He like weighed down one side and knew that I would pick the nutritional fact side.
Clearly.
He knew.
Hell yeah. So I guess Spider-Man's going on to the next one. Sorry, this show is just me bullying people who like music I like. Anyway.
How blue can I make that sigh?
I mean, you can try.
It didn't work.
Got him. So the next round would be Death Grips the Money Store versus Heathers the Musical. Now, I'm fairly certain which one you're going to pick immediately, but I would like to compare them just a little bit. If we can, even though this is a very odd comparison again with
it does.
Death Grips. It does.
It doesn't. They don't.
All right. So do you have any like immediate talking points you want to have in terms of concept or? Just
if I start talking about Death Grips, I'm just going to start talking about how much I don't like it. So.
Okay. So okay. So I think to start to compare these two, let's go for instrumentation.
Okay.
So the instrumentation of Death Grips is obviously, again, more experimental based.
Right.
But I feel like in terms of like effort to be unique, they're actually pretty similar. Like in terms of effort wise, because Heathers again has the whole encapsulating feel of teenage angst and like the sort of journey for independence that it has, even just sonically. But I feel like in terms of variation, they're very similar. Like through different guitars, drum fills, etc. Like in both projects, they're very distinctive in how much they tried to have variation both flow and in just feeling. I think that's impressive, yeah. As for story-wise, obviously, Heathers has a story, and Death Grips just has more of a...
And if Death Grips did have a story, no one would know, so...
Okay, man, you're really hard to know.
Nobody would know, because we can't understand the lyrics.
Well, now we know.
Now you know. That should be the name of your podcast, Now You Know.
Mentos.
As much as you say it, now you know.
Well, yeah, I just say that when I don't know what to say, because I try and end the conversation rather than being awkward.
And all I do is talk, and extend, and echo.
That's called chemistry.
Oh.
Or biology, same thing.
Okay.
Don't tell me. But, that just hurt them. But,
I apologize.
Yeah, we're really good at staying on track. But
no, we're not.
Yeah. Comparison-wise, let's go to the vocally now. They're very distinctive, one person versus obviously a group of characters. And I think my favorite voice on it would be Veronica, as you said. She has a very distinctive one that works very well for that character. It's not really a nerd character, but more of a just not popular character. Right.
And it's not like the nerds versus the popular kids either. She just doesn't fit anywhere. Like, it's not that she's a nerd or that she's weird. She just doesn't quite fit in any specific... I started to say specific and particular. Same time, it didn't work. Any specific, like, group or, like, clique or whatever.
Yeah, so just based on the idea of, I guess, depth and not even direct messaging, but storytelling in itself, I would probably vote for Heathers, just to end this conversation.
Okay.
I'm assuming you agree.
Yes, I absolutely would love if Death Grips was yeeted out of here.
Well, I disagree with that, because they're great, and they're probably going to win, but just based on Heather. So I'm going to go through Heathers.
Okay, agree.
Alright, so the next round would be across the... Thank you. The next round would be Across the Universe versus Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. So, talking point-wise, I think sonically they're very similar. Like, each has that production where it's different, but at the same time easy to consume for both of them. Yeah. And they're both based on pre-existing ideas, one of them being sonic, one of them being a comic book idea. And there's even an argument to make for U2 being an established sound and like a basis on that. But topic-wise, I would say Spider-Man would be superior. Just in terms of story. Because like Across the Universe, again, there's the problem of not having a story within it.
Right.
Rather than just being like a compilation of evolutions of songs.
I think, again, the thing with Across the Universe that it has to be considered is the fact that it is already popular music. It is already music that has been out there, and people have been like, wow, this is really good. And they were like, well, let's make it into a musical. And they were like, well, how do we do that? How do we make that popular? And they were like, let's just change it a little bit and have no real plot except this and some other things. And they were like, okay. And they just did it, and they tried to make it work.
No, I do think it is important to have that distinction. And there's one that's not necessarily better than the other. I just feel like Spider-Man does what it's going for better than Across the Universe. I already mentioned,
because they're not trying to accomplish the same thing either.
Right,
they're very different.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're like base-wise, neither is necessarily better than the other.
And I will agree that Spider-Man is very good.
Yeah,
it is very good.
But Across the Universe, I feel like I feel like Spider-Man's a lot more consistent than Across the Universe, and there's a struggle with that.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's simple but it's good.
It is.
Yeah. This is the show. This is the unofficial show of us reviewing CD art. We did that for the past 2 episodes.
Really?
Too. Yeah. It's funny that happened again.
Okay.
But
Keeping
I feel
it
like
consistent.
It's just like Spider-Man did. The entire song.
A wonderful tie-in.
Yeah, because I feel like Spider-Man has an advantage being held by one band or like one director, rather than. Because Across the Universe feels like more of a compilation, rather.
Ironically,
that's what it went for.
Ironically, it feels like more of a compilation when they're all by the same artist.
Right. Yeah.
Originally.
Yeah. Originally. Yeah.
That's what makes it crazy. They took all these songs and they made them sound completely different.
Yeah.
And like they did not come all off the same album, and they did not come off the same album, but you know what I mean. They all came from the same artist and the same artist's like tone.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was like a message from like how diverse the Beatles were as a whole.
Right.
But I feel like I prefer the sort of single lane almost of Spider-Man rather than the different cars of Across the Universe, personally. I think just when it goes for what they're going for.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So what are you feeling out of these two, Across the Universe or Spider-Man? I'm obviously going to go for Spider-Man personally.
I think they both do what they are doing very well. But I think that what do I think? I was hoping I would have made a decision by the end of that sentence, and I did not.
Again, mid-answer, trying to remember the question. Shout out to Milo.
Literally. I don't know. I hate to agree with you, though.
Man, we're just full of descriptions of this podcast. It's just, I hate to agree with you.
I hate to agree with you. I don't know. They're both very good at what they do.
Just say Spider-Man. Just agree with me.
I'll just agree with Jack.
Hey.
Spider-Man, I guess. But Across the Universe is very good, and I 10 out of 10 recommend it.
I think all these were good.
Except for the first 4 songs, apparently. And Jack.
Well, you said they were...
And also Hey Jude.
Well, first 5. Including... What?
You keep adding more.
Well, no, I said first 5 because
Did you?
The 5th one was my least favorite.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, let it be your... whatever. Yeah. So, okay. So now we're...
So now
after
what?
that. So now we're on to the final round.
Oh, goodness.
Who could have predicted this one? Heather's the Musical versus Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark being the final round. Who could have predicted this little conundrum? I feel like I front-loaded a couple of these rounds.
Front-loaded?
Like, Heather's versus Hamilton probably wasn't that much of a good idea. But then again, these are random.
You mean you set yours up for success?
Well, no, you picked Heather's.
I mean, you set Spider-Man up for success.
No, I'm saying I feel like Hamilton was the main competitor besides Heather's. And then that was the first.
And you put them together.
No, I didn't set these up. I put them in randomly.
I got you.
But, yeah.
I understand what you were saying now.
Yeah, alright. So, any initial thoughts between these two? Or...
I think Heather's is very clear.
Okay, why?
It's unique.
This is the clear.
It's the clear end of sentence.
You think it's more unique than Spider-Man?
Yes.
Okay, why?
I feel that the reason we chose it against its last competitor, of which I do not remember. What was it, Hamilton?
Yeah.
Hamilton. We chose it because it did what it's doing better.
Specificness.
Right, it's so specific. This is not specific.
Really? You think that's more muddled?
I do think this is more muddled, yes.
Okay.
I think this is great, as like a soundtrack, and it is clearly great as it has gotten this far and defeated all these other competitors. But I think Heathers is much more, it's more unique, and it has a different voice and a different purpose.
Yeah. I would agree with that in a sense of quality-wise. I think Heathers has a more of a highlight on its inequities, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, a lot of things pop more in Heathers. We've already mentioned the main vocalist enough. But I feel like even in theme, like, it tackles a lot more interesting themes and ones that make you not even think. They make you approach things differently.
Right.
With it. As compared to Spider-Man, which we already said its plot is sort of the main downfall of it.
Right. And Heathers also has it tackles those complex like ideals.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
in a complex way.
High school kids want to kill themselves, and they want.
But really, it's
7-Eleven.
But really, it's other people killing them.
Right, exactly.
And that's, I think, is a good metaphor.
Whereas it's like, Spider-Man, music, you too, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the whole...
Yeah, and going back to sonically, I do think... Because I haven't mentioned what...
You said that word so many times.
Yeah.
Sonically.
I haven't mentioned Beautiful yet, which is the intro on Heathers. I feel like that is a really good example of everything you need to do right about a Broadway play.
And it's not an instrumental.
It's not, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
Okay.
Okay, you have ADD, shut up.
I do not have ADD diagnosed. I just have
so you're a fake boy.
diagnosed myself.
So you have a
Technically I have like a processing disorder, but it's just easier to say ADD.
I have a processing disorder, whatever that means.
It means if people just start talking and they say really long sentences that I don't understand, I'm 10 out of 10 not listening at all or understanding anything they're saying. I am definitely in my own little world.
Another perfect example of this podcast. Thank you very much.
I am the...
I am that duck.
I am...
You are the walrus.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm the walrus.
Choo choo. It's time
choo
back.
choo.
You thought that since we left that we left it behind, but oh no. We're gonna... Okay, now we need to stop. This is really behind.
You'll have to edit like a whole minute out.
Oh no, we're looping that actually. That's in the background right now.
Wonderful.
Man, again, we're just great. I'm just talking. So I think that Heathers is the winner here.
I can agree with that.
Just based on its not even unique, because they both have very unique in a sense.
Yes.
But I feel like it highlights its unique rather than Spider-Man muddles it with plot. To where Heathers, in both the plot and the sonic wise, it focuses on how much. I don't want to say how much I don't even want to say how much it has to say, but rather how it says it, rather than Spider-Man just saying it's a bit of a necessity.
I think were these both on Broadway, Heathers would be on Broadway forever and ever.
Well, it's not anymore. But
we're not going to talk about it.
Okay.
That's
it was
not
on
the
a line
point.
in Spider-Man.
It was.
But again, we've already kind of established that.
Yeah.
Mass appeal does not equate to popularity, but I would vote for Heathers. Which
Right.
one are you voting for?
I am also voting for Heathers.
Well, there we go.
There you go.
We do have our result.
Heathers is the best musical of all time.
I would disagree with that. But of course,
Oh, no.
Of course, the winner is Death Grips the Money Store.
Oh no.
When we go to it, you know how it is.
Ellie warned me about this.
What do you mean?
About Death Grips.
Well, I mean, they're right there to your left. Yep.
Is that my left?
Did you just ask yourself if that was your left?
Yes. It's my left.
Alright, so it's a funny moment because then the thing should be, the music should be playing by now.
Heathers!
That's not at all the theme. You listen, there's a saxophone. That's probably where
It sounds like chewing, and then it sounds like water dripping, and then it sounds like a saxophone, and then it's like boop, 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 boop.